Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with my long awaited review of Stargirl Season 1 Episode 9. 9! So yes, there is still another episode that has been shown after this, but I'm behind. And I'm behind because ever since it was announced that Stargirl is just going to be on the CW from next season, I checked out. I mentally checked out completely of the show. Because the CW's trash. Absolute unmitigated trash. And I quite like this show. You know, I think it's doing more right things than it's doing wrong things. Yeah, there is stuff which gets on my nerves or whatever. That's in everything. But there's a lot of good writing. There's some decent characters. There's some great villains. The heroes are pretty naff. But, like I said, they're doing a lot right in this show. Next season, it's gonna be hot garbage. With the CW in control of it. Just hot garbage. But I got a ton. When I say a ton, I got a few. Because I can't say that many people are watching these reviews anyway. But I got a few people and I'm like, where's the Stargirl review? Please do the Stargirl review, please. So, I am your humble servant. Let's get into Season 1, Episode 9. Then maybe tomorrow, before the Episode 11, we'll catch up with Episode 10. No promises, though. We'll see. So, it starts off with a flashbacky. And this is Brainwave when he was younger. I think meant to be early 20s, I think. Maybe even teen. I don't know. But he's getting his head pulsating. He's clearly done some experiments on himself. His brainwave patterns are beginning to kick in. He's trying to take some pills to cure the ills. Not working, and then a nasty man comes along and is like, I'm gonna kills you, and he's like, no, I kills you. He uses his mental power to kill the guy, and he could read his mind, and his mind was just like, I'm gonna kill you. Nobody would miss you. And then he, instead of going to the police or going home, goes back into his lab, and starts recording a confession. For some reason. Well, I know what the reason is. The reason is so that his son, later on in the episode, can go through his VHSs and start to learn more about the powers that are beginning to befall him. So it's all a bit contrived, but okay, it was just nice to see Brainwave up and about. Was it da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Yeah, da-da-da, Stargirl, da-da-da-da-da, Stargirl. By the way, zero Stargirl in this episode. Yes, there's Courtney, but there's no Stargirl. She doesn't get into the suit once. Neither does Boring Boy. Neither does Glasses Girl. The only person who gets a costume on is Wildcat for about 30 seconds. And it's laughable. It's laughable. So anyway, Henry goes back home. And he finds the VHSs. He wants to know what's going on after the events of the last episode. He puts day one into the VHS player. And his dad literally talks about 3 seconds. And that's the end of the VHS. Guess he'll have to look at number 2 now. And it just repeats what his dad said. Oh, I think I killed a guy. He attacked me and it looked like he had a seizure and died. But I think it was my brain that did it. And Henry's just like, what? What? Okay. So there's a lot of that. Yeah, in my mind. So, yeah, there's a little bit of that. Courtney is opening up to Pat about what had happened, that she could read his mind as well as he could read her mind, that she doesn't think that Henry's bad, that maybe they should think about trying to recruit Henry to be able to read the minds of the people in the town, and they'd be able to identify who the members of the ISA were. Pat talks about Dr. Dragonface, and how before he was in the JSA as a sidekick, used to be in another group of people, and they're Shining Knight. Right, the Janitor is actually Shining Knight. That's the character that he's going to be, and they call themselves something like the Spectacular Seven or some shit. And they were like, and she was Courtney's like, but there's 8 of you, and he's like, yeah, the name, yeah, okay. So I think it's more of an introduction to Shining Knight, so that the audience can piece together who the Janitor is. And he's a bit reluctant because he's just like, I don't know. And then we cut to a scene with the Janitor, and he's mopping up at school, and then he has a bit of a vision, and he imagines that his mop changes into the rod of rodding cosmic staff, but it doesn't. Now, to me, it looks like he's got some kind of psychic block preventing him from realizing who he truly is, which may be a Brainwave thing. Maybe Brainwave put a mental block on him or something along those lines, or thought that he had fried his brain or something, but kind of lobotomized him ish. But there's something clearly going on up in his noggin as well. Then we go to the most useless character in the show, Glasses Woman. I say useless because she hasn't earned this at all. She's been given goggles and look, infrared, night vision, X-ray, optical, holo, lie detector, weather predictor, Twitter. Wah, 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 wah. Anyway, she's trying to stalk Cindy's house, and Cindy's not there. And they're like, where's Cindy? And apparently, Cindy pulled out, ladies, of school. We all know this is a ruse, of course. She's pulled out of school, and she's now going to be learning abroad with her stepmom. Which means that's probably the last we've seen of the stepmom in the show. That one and out episode. And then, look, that is a hit. This is a hero. This is a 2020 hero. Moving on. Cindy is locked up in a cell from her father's making, and she's screaming and shouting. It's like, hey, if you don't let me out of the cell, Dad, I'm gonna kill you the same way that I killed Mum. She's trying to get a rise out of him. And he's just like, whatever, I'm gonna have Bill Cosby gas your cell, and if you're not lucky, I might actually let him in as well. So he gasses the cell to knock her out and shut her up. And then goes back to his gubbins, really, where he says, but one thing that you did teach me is that we don't need Brainwave for this device anymore. We just need Henry, because Henry's now got the powers of Brainwave, so we'll do a bit of Henrying. Henry's back at home watching more tapes, which last for about 30 seconds. But what he's doing is he's trying to gain as much knowledge of his psychicness as possible. He's moving stuff around. He throws a knife into a wall, and he's just like, oops, was that naughty? I don't know. Kind of enjoyed it. And right at the moment, yes, there's a sort of balance going on with Henry. You know, he seems excited. He seems to be decent. But at the same time, he has a darkness about him. And you could tell that he could swing one way or another. So I think it's trying to tease Henry could go either way, which in current day comics is pretty much par for the course. Moving on. So Courtney tells her that she wants to recruit Henry. They get a bit, are you crazy? Look, fuck off. And she's like, look at us though. Look, we've all grown. Outwards, maybe. Not inwards. How have you grown? You got some goggles. You got some goggles that tells you everything. End of. How's miserable bastard grown? He hasn't. He's just a miserable bastard. How's Wildcat Yolanda grown? She hasn't. She's miserable and as vengeful as ever. And what's really weird is they keep saying, it's mentioned about 4 or 5 times in the episode. Well, Henry ruined my life spreading my titty pics everywhere. Now, number 1. Number 2, though, which is more important, no, he didn't. He didn't. It was Cindy. Cindy spread the pictures, not him. But suddenly, Henry spread the pictures of Yolanda's titty bags. Whatever. Show, come on, remember your own plots. So Yolanda says, I'm not going to be part of a group that has Henry in it, and storms off. And you can kind of understand, you know. Whatever. I'm going to sneeze. I could have edited that out, but I'm not going to. Now then, Henry's back at the house, still watching more 3-minute videos. And he gets a knock at the door, and it's, he hears something. And it actually turns out to be the maid. His dad's just saying stuff. And she's just like, oh, I do. She reads her mind, because his dad's just like, I killed a bunch of people because all I was doing was going around, and I could listen, I could hear everybody's thoughts, and everyone's horrible, and everyone's nasty and mean, and he made somebody blind and made them get run over. Whatever. And then he said, oh, that sated my appetite. It stopped the pain. But then I read my next mind, and it all started back up again. So I don't know if I don't think so. I don't think killing satiates it, but I think the use of the mental powers, you have to keep using the mental powers, otherwise you kind of get like a withdrawal, like a caffeine withdrawal. You know, apart from it's really, really acute. So I think that for the psychic powers you have to constantly be using or use them very, very regularly indeed to prevent that. So anyway, the Mexican maid... We at the CW are so progressive. By the way, the maid's are Mexican. Oopsies, that's problematic. Anyway, she comes in and he reads her mind and she's saying, oh, I do worry about Henry, because he's all guarded at first. And then he reads her mind and he hears that and he's just like, oh, she's actually a decent person. And then she says... in her mind, maybe it'd be better if his father died. And then he's like, get on my way, woman. By the way, I'm going to leave all the VHS tapes of my dad admitting to murder just there for you to watch at your leisure. Whatever. So he storms out. Dragon face. I tell you what, though, I love this costume. I truly do. This costume, I think, is awesome. I think it's just awesome. He actually turns up for a meeting, and Sportsmaster's just like, holy cow, are you going to actually join us? And he's like, can I sit down? He's like, mm-hmm. And then Icicle's like, of course you can. Please. So he talks that he doesn't need Brainwave anymore to enact his plan. He just needs Henry, and they're going to plug Henry in to amplify... a signal which is going to allow them to take control of like the 6 states around them, of everyone, so they can progressively take over America with mind control. It's fine, whatever. They're villains. Next scene, we got Amy Smart. I can't remember what her character's name is in the show. It's been a while. And she apologizes for running off the other day, and he's just like, no, if your daughter was in an accident, that's absolutely fine. Sorry, I've got really bad eye allergies at the moment, and my eyes are just like really drying up and sore very quickly. So I have to keep them moist, ladies, and beautiful. And he's just like, no, it's no problem at all. It's family. How about we have a meal together? I'll come by your house. And she's like, okay. Or she suggests it. One at t'other, anyway. So she's like, cool. So Henry hears, when the last scene was, he heard his father call to him. And that's why he left the house. And he turns up at the hospital and he's reading everybody's minds. And all the white people are horrible. Everyone's horrible and they're all white, obviously. I'm sure there's no correlation to that whatsoever. But I think what it was trying to say is, a lot of these people have smiles on the outside. And I think what it was trying to say is, somebody might be smiling on the outside, but you never know what they're thinking. You never know what they're truly thinking. Like this guy here, he smiles nicely, but he's just like, I really hope she dies soon so I can get the house and the car and everything. But he's just like, if you put it on mute and just watch the scene, he'd just walk past him smiling and go, oh, he's a nice guy. So I think that's what it was trying to convey. But they're all white. And then he tries to speak to his dad, but his dad's not responding. So the nurse comes in. And it's all right, we've got an Asian nurse now, and they're nasty as well. Woo! And he's just like, hi, and all that, smiling, being nice, but he's just like, I never liked the doctor. They should have just taken him off life support. So Henry's just like... And what it's trying to do is it's trying to reinforce that idea that everybody is horrible, like his father thought. Everybody's horrible, everybody's nasty, and all that kind of stuff. So, we then go to the pit stop, and this is a weird scene. Pat says, I think they chose this town because there's a network of tunnels underneath. So instead of coming here to hide, they've actually come here to plan something. And I think in these books is some information. Now, absolute useless chocolate fire guard, and that isn't a colour reference, by the way. It's a saying. As useless as a chocolate fire guard. Before, oh my god, Comics Against a Hate Group. And this guy here, another chocolate fire guard. He's just like, well, first of all, Pat's like, there could be some interesting information. You look, I'm going home because we're having guests. And miserable bastard who's just useless is just says to useless goggle woman, I don't care. I just want to punch things because I'm just an angry person, and I've got better things to do, like decipher my dad's journal. And he leaves. But when we come back to the garage, they're both going to be together again. What happened? You stormed off, and then when we come back, you're back together. There were some problems with this episode. There was that. There was the constant reference to Henry showing off the tit pics, and he didn't. I don't know what fell apart in this episode. I really don't know what fell apart in regard to that, but whatever. So Courtney turns up to the hospital, and Henry reads her mind, and he reads the fact that she was the one that made him a Raspberry Ripple. And she's just like, no, look, your dad was trying to kill me. He's a member of the ISA. Henry's like, I know. And she's like, they're horrible people, Henry. They kill people. You know, you're a good person. The person that got killed on the bridge, the boy, the magician boy, he was a good boy. And he's like, yeah, he was a good boy. And yeah, there's a nice little exchange between them. It's a good scene as regards to Courtney trying to connect with him, and trying to appeal to his better nature, and the fact that he doesn't bite at anything because he could read her mind and she's clearly being honest and genuine. And he gets angry again still and kicks her out, and she's just like, hey, look, you know where I am. Come find me when you're ready to talk. I'll be here. So it was a good scene. We go home. The woman doesn't know how to cook, but the man does because 2020. And she goes to the door, and Courtney opens the door, and oh my God! It's Hunky Boy, who she fancies. And then it's Icicle, but she doesn't know it's Icicle yet, and the grandparents. And they've all come round for din-dins. Henry is still back at the hospital, where he gets dragged into a room where Yolanda... Oh, this costume is horrendous. Where Yolanda is saying, I'm gonna kill you. I don't want you anywhere near us. Go away. You showed off my tit pics. And he's like, no, I didn't. Well, he didn't say that. He should have said that. He's like, no, it wasn't me. It was Cindy. She did it. Whatever. And he's like, you don't mean that. She's like, read my mind. And in her mind, she's just like, I want to slash you and gut you. And it's just like, holy shit, he just showed you. He didn't even do it, but your tits got shown off. Look what happened to Ray Park today. Just can we sort of like temper the response, please? To something a little bit more like, I hate you, I'm never going to talk to you again, as opposed to I'm going to kill you for showing me titty bags off, even though it wasn't you. So he reads her mind and she's like that, and then she's like, I trusted you, I loved you. And then she's like, oh God, fuck, he read my mind. I'm out of here. And she leaves. Icicle, who I think is the best person in the show. I love this guy. Not biblically, but I love him. I think he's just such a cool character and well played, and he's got a lot of depth about him. He'll be gay in season 2. Because it's the CW. Oh, so they're having a little bit of a chit chat around the table, and before they eat, they say, "Hey, we're Norwegian, from Norwegian descent, so we have a little prayer that we say before lunch. Is that okay?" So they're like, "Sure," and they say this prayer, which is just like, "Bless us, may all our enemies be crushed," and whatever. It's funny. I chuckled. So, yes, suddenly, Specs Mahoney and Angry Man are back together again, even though he stormed off to decipher his dad's codebook. Maybe he just wanted a fap. Maybe he just wanted to go off and watch 10 minutes of Bang Brothers and then come back. And she says something, and I gotta say, I kind of check out when these people come on the screen, so I didn't really get what they said. And I didn't really fancy going back and listening. How's about that? So back at the table, they're eating. And there's like bits of conversation. And I don't think it's particularly interesting. They like Amy Smart because she's got like family values. And they've got family values, but theirs are obviously a little bit more skewed. But Amy's kind of, I'm going to say it, she's kind of conservative. And so, yes, she believes in the family unit and stuff like that, which some other people don't. So they're just like, oh, we like her. So I still think there's going to be some sort of play for Amy Smart to join Icicle. I still think of it. But they don't like Courtney. Join the club. No, Courtney's fine. She's fine. I'm joking. So, Icicle wants some more food, but, hey, I'm gonna take the last meatballs and whatever I'm eating. I'm gonna take it. He just takes the last bit of the dumplings or whatever it is that they're scoffing. And so Courtney's just like, oh, I'll get the other tray that's in the oven. So she goes off. She gets the mitts on because it's just coming straight out the oven. She puts it down next to Icicle, and while they're talking and distracted because the dog comes along, starts eating the food, Icicle just picks up the dumplings, the chicken and dumplings, which have just come straight out of the oven, and just starts spooning it into his thing, then puts it down, and Courtney's watching like, oh shit, this is Icicle! Because he's picked up the hot object and not been affected by it because he's so cool. I've got to do my eyes again. Sorry. They were okay this morning. They were really bad this afternoon. So she's like, Pat, I need to talk to you. And Pat's just like, why is this oven so clean when we've just been cooking in it? And she's like, I don't know. But then he says, I think it's Icicle. And he's like, you sure? It's like, yeah, I'm pretty fucking sure. So she suddenly gets really kind of turned off by the son because she thinks the son might be in on it all. So he's like, I'm trying to come on to Courtney. And Courtney's like, I'm not so sure. And then Icicle comes up to her and says, Courtney, you know why I came round tonight, don't you? And she's like, oh, he knows that I'm Stargirl? Oh, no, oh, no, no. And then he goes, because my son can't stop talking about you because he likes you. Yep. And she's just like, oh, he doesn't know who I am. Okay, cool. So she goes down and she gets the rod of dildoing cosmic staff, and Pat's just like, wait. And then Mummy comes down and catches them. And she's like, what is that? And then the staff's just like, uh-oh, and deactivates itself and falls over, and she screams. And it's quite funny. Then we go back to the hospital with Henry, and this lawyer guy comes in, who, by the way, was set up earlier, because when the maid came in, she said, a lawyer's been calling for you, needs to speak to you. So he catches them at the hospital, and he's like, I need your signature, because your dad, for an event like this, that he might be incapacitated and put onto a ventilator, said that I only want to be on a ventilator for so long, and if I don't come out of it, then it needs to be switched off. But really, he's trying to con the signature out of Henry to get his dad's money. But Henry can read his mindsies and knows that he's on the con, and the guy's just like, oh no, I've been rumbled. And then he kills him with a psychic blast. I'm dead. And then his dad wakes up and is just like, where am I? And then it ends. So all in all, it was fine. Nothing massively happened in terms of action, which is fine. There was some decent development with Henry and with Amy Smart, the mum. The villains are way more interesting than the heroes. The heroes are awful for the most part, and the villains are really interesting for the most part. It was it's like a 6 out of 10. It was like there. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Some good moments here or there, but the whole business with Henry and the tit pics was what? And the continuity error as well. Come on, that's basic stuff which should be caught. Yeah, but apart from that, it's fine. It's fine. I'll watch episode 10 and we'll see where it goes in episode 10. Some people have been saying to me episode 10's really good. Really good. So I'll see. But I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and YouTube for live streaming. Links in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.